The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Hello and welcome to another Soccer to the Max Weekend Edition. And boy, do we have a ton to talk about on this Sunday show, plus Gold Cup predictions, so that Rachael can be on to do them, because it's always better when it's 3 and not 2. And of course, speaking of her, how are you doing, Miss Rachael?
I'm great. I'm on babysitting duty tonight, so if we hear a baby, then that's why. We've got a special guest tonight, folks.
Awesome. I saw she was watching the games with you.
She was, and she cried whenever Germany won, which I can understand.
There was probably a lot of people that cried when Germany won. So, she was not alone there. Erik, how are you?
Glückwunsch, die Mannschaft. my apologies to anyone if I butchered that in German. Yeah, hi.
At least she tried.
Yes.
So,
I'd like to be
us.
a citizen of the world amongst the football community.
The best part is, I don't know if you ever listened to it, but you need to. Rachael, Erik doing the first 10 minutes of his point of view are in French.
Oh my. Okay, I will.
I was just sitting there on the headphones like, oh my god.
I warned you in advance. I warned the audience in advance. If you could just sit through that opening bit, the rest would be fine. I make no apologies except to francophones.
Well, well, hopefully, that did not insult too many people either, and we can get on with this show. So we're going to start with the domestic leagues here. Then we're going to go international with of course, there's the U.S. had a friendly in preparation for the Gold Cup. We'll talk about that. We got the final, the Confed Cup, plus Mexico getting fourth in the Confed Cup, and Juan Carlos Osorio not helping himself at all at the end there either. And, of course, the final that Rachael just talked about with Germany winning. And what was a thrilling game for the most part. Went all the way down to the end. And, yeah, and then we'll get into our Gold Cup picks there to wrap it up. So, Major League Soccer, which did have a game after the Confed Cup. Did you guys, was I the only one that watched it? Or did you guys?
No, I watched it.
What'd y'all think?
I mean,
bad.
Yeah. I keep knocking the Crafts for not caring, and, well, this kind of proved it. And the fact that what talent that they did have is away on Gold Cup duty, and woo, you could tell.
I could tell it hasn't been that good for New England this year. Cullen Rose, obviously an important part, but that team has been lacking defense from...
Well, not to mention Diego Fagundes.
He got suspended.
Yeah. That was pretty bad timing, because easily, with the chances that Philadelphia had, it could have been 6-0. Yeah,
so if only they had scored them, which they had opportunities to do so. It's just... This is not the only team that has this issue in MLS, but this is New England's the one that just makes it look the worst. When they are not attacking and putting goals in, they immediately get put out either on the counter or just by someone dicing them, and I don't know how they plan to get to the playoffs that way.
They don't. Look, when you're worse than Minnesota or DC United, you're throwing in the towel.
Ouch.
Ooh, those are strong words there.
Hey, Revolution? Come at me, at Squid Sportshead. I'm sticking by that. Anytime you give up a needless handball right in the edge of the box and I haven't even sat down to get my food, you've got problems.
I also feel like CJ Sapong is making his case for I should have been on the Gold Cup roster. But, you know, I understand Mr. Bruce Arena. He made his choices. It is what it is. But he was really good in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have him than Juan Agudelo.
I agree.
Yeah, you're not going to get any arguments.
I just don't understand, like, shouldn't you take the... Like, I understand Dwyer trying to get him capped, all that, whatever, and he's relentless, and he showed it in the Ghana game. But it's like, take guys that are on form, not let me try to see if I can give this guy a jolt by scoring 5 goals against Nicaragua. I mean, look, I get it. Scoring 1 goal is what matters for a goal scorer sometimes, but...
Bruce Arena's mindset is that, hey, after next year, I'm going to be out, so whatever. This is how it's going to be.
Well, you know, New England, lucky for you, there's still time left for you to figure it out. Maybe you'll sign someone.
No, lucky for them that the Patriots, a team that really gives a damn about winning, are going to start doing something more meaningful within the next couple of months, and no one will care.
You know who also looked really bad? Vancouver. Vancouver looked awful.
I mean...
you also have the best team in the league in Chicago against you.
Yeah, I'm about to say, that's why I didn't lump them into the whole comparison about biggest poop emoji of the week, but they came close. And Nemanja Nikolic, what is he on pace for? Like 35 goals this season? Dear sweet Jeebus.
Watch out, Mr. Lassiter. Wait, somebody broke his record, right?
Tied.
Tied, okay. Well, still, watch out,
the
Mr.
magic
Lassiter.
the magic number's 27, and he's more than halfway there.
Wow. Chicago would have to absolutely stink it up in the second, which we have seen before. But I don't think Chicago's doing it.
One Bastian Schweinsteiger would not allow that. Thank you very much. See? There you go. Right there.
I love that we can just have a rotating ha in there for any of us to do. I love that. And this is without Dax McCarty, too, which shows you just how good that team is. I mean, obviously, Juninho is fine, wonderfully fine as put him in that role that Dax usually inhabits, but it's just amazing that they're now on a 10-game unbeaten streak, and they haven't scored less than 2 goals a game. Watch out, people.
Yeah, and with the way they are defensively, good luck trying to score even 1 against them, let alone 2 or 3 to try to fetch yourself a draw.
But, like, how bad are you, Rachael, if you're letting people have 18 passes to score a goal, 15 passes to score a goal? Like, the hell is going on there? Like, are they playing with themselves?
Phrasing boom. And second off, I don't know. I mean, it just congestion in the midfield. I don't know.
That's just, man. I'm sure Freddie Montero did not feel too good after that. Probably one of the surprises of this week, considering how Dallas has been doing. Go to Toronto, score 3 with the big guns in Toronto.
Didn't expect that.
That was overall scarily impressive. Just
Ronald Lamont coming out of nowhere.
I mean, just with their overall flow and how they did it, it just seemed effortless. That weirded me out a bit. Even more than Toronto's white jerseys.
That was so weird.
The white jerseys were weird. I wasn't a fan.
But, like, Dallas has worn the white jerseys with the blue before. Like, they should have switched, honestly.
Exactly, especially how dare a Canadian team wear blue on a great nation's 150th birthday. That's an insult, in my opinion.
Seriously. How did somebody miss that? Like, when you're planning for this game, like...
Yeah, come on, TFC. If the Blue Jays can get it right every year and wear red, come on. Just no. I mean, if they weren't so nice, they'd kick you out of Canada for that, and then apologize as they were doing it.
Well, you were talking about why Dallas was smooth is when you have Mauro Diaz back in form. That's how Dallas is supposed to look.
That was a big help. A very big help.
I mean, they have been missing him for so long, and Ruti has been so good this year. I think he gets underrated by a lot of people. I even underrate him. I think about how much Dallas would be missing goals if he was not around to score them. And this was without Acosta there, too. So, props to them for the win. And, this knocks Toronto down a peg. They finally get usurped by Chicago in the East there in the standings.
Yeah, but it's still setting up. I don't know. I think while this isn't a bit of an aberration, this is just going to make that supporter shield race extremely exciting going into the second half of the season.
What do you think about San Jose? First win for Chris Leach.
Sean, what do I always say about San Jose and how they win games?
It's 2 wins in a row.
But, especially in this particular one, who got the game winner?
Shea Salinas.
For San Jose?
Yes.
I could have sworn it was Wondolowski.
It actually wasn't Wondolowski this time.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that makes me even more impressed.
2 wins, but 2 different managers. I'll be more impressed whenever I see them win 2 in a row with the same manager.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because RSL, they had the little moment with Jeff Cassar where they won like 3 in a row, and then
they just went right back down to the crapper.
Yeah.
Well, again, the new voice wasn't so shiny and new, and they realized, well, this isn't how it's supposed to be. Yeah. Not to mention, it hasn't snowed in months because it's summer, so that's not helping RSL do any favors.
I mean, they were also lucky that Godoy stayed around instead of going with the national team. So he was able to actually be back to the guy that we thought would be a spark plug for them at the beginning of the season when he was scoring those great goals. So maybe he did know something that Dominic Kinnear didn't know.
I guess, but
Galaxy were also missing quite a few people still.
Yeah, plus, I mean, you look at the form and the Classico, it's like tide is bound to turn at some point.
True. What'd you think of Orlando? They did get the win.
Even with someone who has to earn the right for me to say his name again and doing disrespect to his country being back, I was actually kind of relieved. I mean, creating that madness in the box to get the goal and having it hold up as a winner on the road, the purple might be back. It might be back.
You think he gets put in as one of the changes for Canada if they make it to the...
Maybe. I mean, I'm not getting my hopes up given Canada's group, but maybe.
They could be a best third. Don't have to do
Yeah.
a whole lot.
Yeah, and I'm gonna kind of tease my preview article, but that's pretty much where I suit them. But then look at where they would be and who they would face potentially in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, that's always the problem.
Yeah, so again, maybe, and odds are he would be, but it wouldn't make a terrible amount of difference.
Would you call him, Rachel, or would you say, okay, you're off because of punishment? Or
I think I would say that he's off, but I think if they would call him, I don't think he'd be starting any matches.
That's fair. You know, don't have him be the shining star all of a sudden just because you can make a change, you could put him there. But I give Canada a lot of credit because they could have just said, you know, hey, this happened on Orlando's watch. We need him. It is what it is. But they...
Yeah, but saying that, this happened in Orlando City's watch and blah, blah, and yada, yada, that's extremely un-Canadian.
Oh, God. Wow.
See, this is why you're awesome, and if you'll happen to take a certain someone who has connections in Canada and loves Canadian football, if you can give them some sort of path to dual citizenship, then yeah, they'd be willing to listen.
Hey, that's all you need. Wait. So who... You can't just tease this and not give us the directive of who this is that you're trying to coax into dual citizenship here.
Well, myself, obviously.
You.
Mm-hmm.
I could see you doing... I could see you rocking it over there in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Mellowing out.
Especially if I'm in either Montreal or Vancouver. One place has something great to offer. Another place has something equally as great, yet different in places. And yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, if you go to Montreal, you fit right in. You could, you know, talk that broken French to people. So.
Yeah, I would show, hey, at least I'm willing to learn and do stuff.
Oh, man, I love Erik. He always takes us in these awesome directions.
That's what I'm here for.
Houston continues to suck when they are not in Houston. With, I shouldn't say they suck. They actually really gave Colorado, they just couldn't convert. But
No, they did. And by the way, when did Colorado finally figure out how to score? I watched that match and I'm like, where are these goals coming from? This isn't the Rapids. Who are
Mo
these
Saeed's
people?
been actually really good for them in the middle, and he's connecting passes. And Dylan Cerna being back, I think, has helped them too, because he's provided something different that they didn't have until he started coming back. And it helps when Kevin Doyle's actually scoring. You know.
Scoring, celebrating by going into the stands, things like that.
Just Colorado things.
I swear I remember him doing that in England, but Did he play? He played for like Reading for a while, didn't he?
Yep.
Okay. I was making sure I got my. Which we get to talk about this thing that I was upset about today. So
Which
it doesn't have anything to do with what we usually talk about, but it's such a.
Stupid.
It's apparently gotten to the point where I think there's so many people complaining to NBC Sports that they had to take down the complaint thing for a while.
Okay, so you find alternate means to message and email them and complain even more that you took down the original complaint thing and you're being greedy and stupid.
Comcast being greedy? Come on now. This is what they do.
I'm well aware, and I am saying this even though I am a proud X1 customer. Yeah, this is still stupid. You've taken enough of my money.
Look, I don't have a problem with Comcast services is great. I don't have a problem with their service. I have a problem with how much they want to charge for their service, which is two different things. I guess their whole deal is you get what you pay for, whatever. But there's different ways to handle things. You finally get Mr. Desmali in Montreal, and Montreal gets the win. He had a fantastic goal, by the way, too. But
that was a real thing of beauty.
This is DC. What do you expect?
And I still say it's a real thing of beauty. And DC United just exactly what Mila said. That is how I feel internally when it comes to you nowadays. Mila, thank you, sweetie, for chiming in. She's already a star.
See, yeah, she's getting ready.
She's ready to be our fourth co-host.
Exactly.
Right? In a few years, she will be the star of this podcast. I'll just have to find another role here.
See, and the fact that I could work with her, although it would be a while before I could get her on point of viewer, because there are certain words that young children should not learn that I tend to say repeatedly.
God, that's going to be a lot of years. Oh, my gosh. But, could you imagine just to have her on there? You would get in lots of trouble there.
Yeah, I would get so many complaints and calls and visits from child services, and that's just a bad look.
We don't have to tell them where you live. It's okay.
No, knowing trolls on the internet, someone would find me out.
So, I mean, I just want to point out that Columbus' defense is also awful. And Jonathan Mensah he is a DP, and he is equally just as bad.
Not to mention, whose bright idea was it to have black and white numbers on bright yellow shirts? That told me everything I need to know about where Columbus's heads were at in this match.
I don't know, but it's like you said, they were not thinking about what they should be. At least Atlanta keeps winning, right? So that's
well, of course. Atlanta's Atlanta. Almiron, he's still remembering what we're saying, and it's a shame Martinez couldn't get another goal because he had some great chances. You name it, all of their weapons were on top form.
I just don't understand, Jonathan. How do you let the goalkeeper score on you? It's just so sad.
And I mean, they measured that. That was about an 85-yard pass, and it bounced. If ESPN is saying that and kind of clowning you, then you're having a bad day.
Also, no surprise, but NYCFC made Minnesota look bad.
Well, they were at Yankee Stadium, and it's Minnesota.
Minnesota's been pretty decent lately.
Yeah, I can say that about a lot of the Minnesota sports teams. The Twins have been pretty decent lately, but that doesn't stop their record from being mediocre.
Eric, I hope you never go to Minnesota.
Seriously. It's just, people are going to listen to this and go, God, this guy hates Minnesota.
I don't hate Minnesota. Minnesotan people are awesome. They're very liberal. In the University of Minnesota, I've heard some things about some certain groups that I would be glad to be a member of. But when it comes to Minnesota sports, come on. Come on.
Alright, I'll give you that.
Alrighty then.
I just still hope you don't go to Minnesota because you'll probably get, beat up or something.
Minnesotan people are too nice about that. I'd even take a picture of me swinging a wiffle ball bat while standing at the old home plate in the Mall of America. Just for them.
Oh, man. Sporting KC and Portland tie, which leads to Sporting having a 3-point lead over FC Dallas on the Western Conference. San Jose, Houston, and the Galaxy with a 22 points behind. They're at 22, which is 3 less than Houston. And then you get a bunch of really close there at the bottom, with Real Salt Lake now being last. And then in the East, DC United still last. Sorry, Erik.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Columbus Crew still above the line, even though they are terrible defensively.
That won't last long.
Yeah, Chicago now 2 points ahead of Toronto, which are 2 points ahead of New York City, which are 4 points ahead of Orlando. So a little bit of a gap widening there in the East.
Well, again, when you have Chicago, Toronto, a couple of those teams, they're not just fighting for the East. Now you're right in the thick of it for the supporters' shield. This is going to be the time where they're going to be like, okay, let's try to run away and hide.
Yeah, there's only from the 7th spot in the West, there's a 10-point gap. 7th spot in the East, there is a 14-point gap. So, not too far, but, be careful for that. And of course, we're now a month
that's
away
still
from...
almost 5 wins.
Yeesh. New York Red Bulls better start stepping it up there. Of course, when Jesse Marsch cares more about being a UEFA. Honestly, there's some times where honesty is not the best policy, and that's one of those times, Jesse Marsch. Just don't say anything. Just don't. Thanks for telling your team that, yeah, it's great to be here, but I don't want to really be here.
Jesse, I'm reaching out to you, not just broadcaster to manager, but man to man. Honestly, honesty has nearly cost me body parts. Body parts that I cherish. Remember that. I'm just saying.
Did someone almost cut it off?
I feel like that's definitely a point of viewer story.
Yeah, Sean, if you'll remind me, I can go into that. Oh, my college days.
All right, Rachel, save us with some NWSL.
I don't know how I can top that.
You can't. We just have to move along sideways from.
Right. So, moving on from that.
If I can crab walk away from this, so can you. That's all I'm saying.
Uh-oh.
We might have a duet here. I think Mila might be helping me out here. NWSL, I guess the surprising part of this weekend, yeah, me too, kid, was
Oh.
Okay, we need to take you to the other room. So Sky Blue FC upset the North Carolina Courage at home on Saturday.
On Lifetime too, so.
How about that?
And guess who scored? None other than Sam Kerr. She's their side's leading scorer. And man, she was just everywhere. In North Carolina, Ashley Hatch, man, I said it last week that she's the rookie to watch this year, and I still stand by that statement because even though she didn't have her fourth goal in 4 games, she had chance after chance after chance, and man, she put in a workload. Boston finally got a much-needed win against the Washington Spirit. Rose Lavelle's still out, but for them, Margaret Purce, one of their other rookie phenomenons, was able to score to give them the win. Chicago and Orlando. Chicago beat Orlando 1-0. Christian Press with the penalty kick. Really, besides that, it was just kind of a lackluster game. Not really going on much for the Orlando Brazilian tandem of Camelia and Marta, so that was a little odd. But another upset this week was when Seattle totally just demolished Portland in Seattle. Megan Rapinoe is leading the league now with 9 goals. She had 7 going into the match, and Megan Rapinoe, she's just been on fire. And then tonight, Houston Dash, Kansas City. At Kansas City, Houston was able to get the win. No Carly Lloyd goal, but there was one from Rachael Dolly again. And I don't know who scored the second goal. It might have been Lloyd, but I don't think it was. No, it was Nichelle Prince. But in the 62nd minute of the match, I do not know how to pronounce this name. I'm going to butcher it. Labonta was shown a red card for FC Kansas City. They had the first goal of the match in the 45th minute from Shea Groom, who finally was able to get her first goal of the season.
Yeah, and you were mentioning Sam Kerr. She got named to the Player of the Month for June. So, pretty awesome for her. And she gets to start off July with a goal. So, maybe well on her way to making that for July. Don't tell Megan Rapinoe she's going to retire, because she'll just come out and score goals on you.
Well, and speaking of retirement, Christy Rampone, or should we say Christy Pierce, because everyone was wondering why she had changed her name on her jersey, and it is true, she did get divorced, so it is Christy Pierce now. She announced that this is going to be her last season for Sky Blue. She retired from international soccer at the beginning of the year.
Wow.
Sad
to hear.
Well, and she said during the interview, too, that they had on Lifetime, she said, it's a hard decision to make because she still feels good. She still feels like she can go out there. And she played the full 90 against the North Carolina Courage, and she did the same on their Wednesday match. And she looked good. But I can understand where she's coming from. Her kids are getting older. She wants to be there more, now she's a single mom especially. I can totally relate when she says, my body still feels good. I want to keep playing, but you also have to look at it still that she is 42 years old.
Yeah, to be able to play still at 42, that's something.
Yeah, and I mean, that just goes across the board, regardless of what the sport. But again, when you hit that age, your priorities change. And I wouldn't be surprised that, and I would at least hope for her sake, she still remains around the sport, maybe somewhere on the touchlines. I don't know, but in the end, that's for her to decide.
Also, in national team news, Canada and the United States are going to have a home-and-home series in November. So, some competitive play here or more of it after, they barely squeaked by Norway and Sweden. Should be fun games against Canada.
Well, you can't let the rugby teams have all the fun this time of year.
So is Orlando set to bring Alex Morgan on next week?
She played a little bit this week. She wasn't a starter, but she got in the match.
Nothing of note.
No, nothing too impressive. Just, getting her legs warm and just getting her back in the swing of things.
Well, Mila just, she's excited that you are letting everybody know what happened here. So we'll have to check in with some more they're taking a break for Gold Cup, but NWSL keeps trucking on. MLS is playing their usual. Now, there are certain teams, like FC Dallas always has this thing on July 4th. There's always been certain teams that always play on July 4th, but
because of America.
Because America. But MLS has decided that we're going to squeak in an extra week before the break on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday because they can. And, well, we're going to try to do what we can on the midweek show to cover that. NWSL doesn't play again until the weekend, like normal people. And they play Friday, Saturday, and just Friday and Saturday games this week. No Sunday on this one, but
Don, we've talked a lot, Don. We talked about scheduling a lot, Don.
God, I feel like I really wish Erik could talk to Don Garmer. It would be an amazing interview of just Erik condescendingly talking to Don Garmer.
Don.
Oh, come on, Don. I have been following your lead for a long time now. There's some things that need to be fixed.
Come on now. Get with it, Don. Jesus. Exactly. All right.
Think about the people whose prime cutting in of drinking time that you're doing.
Hey, you can always just drink while you watch.
Yeah, but it's the after effects that I'm worried about. Drinking while I'm watching is one thing, but drinking while I'm watching that much and then having to talk, that's not a good idea.
Thankfully, you get a whole day where you get to get the hangover and then talk on Wednesday.
Yeah, but then Wednesday I go back to work.
Oh, I'm sorry. But for me, I get double Independence Day because Venezuela's Independence Day is on the 5th. So I'll probably be partying both days.
You see, Don? Look at what you're doing to him. He gets double celebration and you're... Don? Seriously? Come on now. Don't be greedy. Don't pull a Pete Rozelle and with the whole Kennedy Sunday thing. We media people do not forget things like that, Don.
God, this is great. We need to have if anything, we need to have some kind of faux interview with Erik and Don Garmer. That'd be amazing. But we will keep hoping for one day for this to happen for Erik. But until then, there is some international going.
Get things campaigning. Fly, my pretties of the internet. Don't make me sick John Oliver and having him push you to do it, because I will.
Oh, that would be great. Just get John Oliver to set you up with the interview, Erik. We'll be so grateful, John Oliver. Please do. We already love you as much as people can, a talk show host, but we will. It will be even. We will get more people to watch your show if you get us this interview. Let's do it, John Oliver. Come on. So, international stuff. One tournament ends, another tournament begins. As is the summer of soccer. The Confederations Cup is now over. We have a winner of the trophy, and that is Germany with their C team. How scary is that?
B+.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't call that anywhere close to a C team. Yeah, it's more along the B+, or even as they mentioned it during the tournament. This isn't even A, B. This is junior varsity versus varsity.
Yeah, fair enough.
And as a little bit of a clarification, I started the broadcast by saying congratulations to the second machine.
Oh, that's cool. See? Erik is enlightening us all every week with more thoughts about... you need to come in here and speak Italian next week. Maybe the Italian people will be as... I could do something in Spanish for the Euro 21 finals that Germany also won, beating Spain 1-0. So 2 1-0 score lines for Germany. Get some trophies. Good for them.
1-0 in a final is enough. It was good enough. Wait, wasn't that 2-1 in Brazil against Argentina?
Yes.
Okay.
But, you know what? Chile gave it everything, especially in the second half. And just couldn't get one in. Just Germany's so well. Like, they were just letting Chile get in there, and they're so well organized. Once you get into that final third, there's no way to break them.
Well, there were ways to break them, but Chile couldn't finish.
Yeah, and then that free kick, I thought Sanchez was going to get it, and man, what a save.
Yeah, ups to Ter Stegen on that one, because, wow.
Yeah, it was right on, because he had to go through a lot of bodies to be able to make that save, and Chile got caught in their own game on the goal. They couldn't get out of their own area.
There was a block, nobody, and they passed to where all the German players are. It made no sense.
But I feel like we can't not talk about the referee.
Oh, he didn't even deserve to get that medal afterwards.
Is there any way that you could light those medals on fire?
For one, why are referees getting medals?
Because, a major tournament final, this is a big deal. No, I would have done like the Country Music Awards back in 1974. I would have had right at him, looked him in the eye, held his medal up, and then taken a lighter to it in his face.
The Country Music Awards in 1974?
Yeah,
what?
When John Denver won for Sunshine on My Shoulders, the guy who presented him lit the award on fire. You never heard that story.
No, I don't I like country and everything, but I don't go back and research old Country Music Award events.
Neither do I, but thank the movie Super Troopers for that bit of knowledge.
I'm a millennial, that's my excuse.
So am I, but I still Google. And again, Super Troopers.
It's been so long since I've seen Super Troopers. I watched that when it came out and never watched it again. It was funny back when I was much younger. I don't know if I would say it's so funny now, but
With your sober, no. If you're in the right state of mind, yes.
It's like Starship Troopers. See?
Hey now, Starship Troopers is still decent while sober. Although the sequel is very ill-advised. I mean, come on. Just no. quit. They should have quit while they were ahead.
The best line to me was Rob Stone with the Diego Maradona looks like he could be a Walmart greeter.
Greeter at Walmart.
I was like, whoa! Whoa! Could you imagine him being a greeter at Walmart? Like, trying to do the hand of God every time with the punching out your groceries.
Well, hey, you would always be able to just hand him your receipt, and if something was wrong, blam!
Yeah. Exactly. He would it'd magically go away. Oh, you didn't pay for that? That's fine. Keep going. That's cool. But, I think and then we can't not talk about the Mexico-Portugal game, which...
Oh, Juan Carlos.
Yeah, you're probably going to get fired.
If you thought I don't know, Mexico really... The only thing that might save him is the fact that the Gold Cup is so close.
I was going to say, do you think they'd fire him right a week before the Gold Cup? Barely a week.
Well, my argument is this, okay? If he had won third place, then I would say, all right, do not catastrophically collapse, finish off the job in the Hex, win the Hex, then we'll talk about things after next summer. But with this, and with the assistant coach who was in charge of their friendly with the other tinkering team against Ghana, it's like, okay, we have a backup plan if absolutely necessary.
They beat Paraguay, right? Because the last time I saw it was 2-1, and they were about to start the second half.
Yeah, it was 2-1, I think, was the final.
So they won both of their warm-up games. I just, I think the issue here is that Mexico never solved their problem, and it's like I don't know what he's looking at there, because it's just every single Copa tonight analysis for Mexico was they cannot defend correctly in the final third.
Nope.
And then when they start playing against bigger teams, the rotating and all that by Osorio gets found out. And
this is the third major, or the third tournament to where Osorio's been in charge in a knockout stage. Look what's happened.
Yep. Got beat by Chile.
7-0.
Got beat by Germany.
4-1.
Got beat by Portugal. Well, they almost tied Portugal again. But, it...
Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. You look at the official records, 2-1 loss after extra time. And it could have been a 1-0 win had they defended properly. But no, they decide that they need 4 or 5 players all in this one little batch, and Pepe's like, well, thank you very much. I get to be the hero because someone decided that I'm going to have newborn twins. I'll take that, thank you.
I don't know. To me, it feels like... do you think he even had a shout for that call that he was screaming about at the end? Where he...
No.
Mm-mm.
I feel like he thinks that he has to do the stuff that he did where he got in the official's face just to show that he's standing up for his team, and that's not the case. You're the public figure of the team.
This isn't baseball where you're like Billy Martin or Lou Piniella. You get to pick up dirt, or a minor league coach that takes third base and throws it 20 feet. This is football. There are standards.
Ugh. I don't know what... I hope he's not, because I think he's a really good coach. It's just... It's almost kind of like everything with Mexico, which has been the thing with Mexico, right? They have a certain point that they get to in the World Cup, and they don't get past that. They They do well in all the other tournaments. They beat their region.
Yeah, and I think it's to the point, especially with this style, this is a classic case of paralysis by analysis. You overthink, you over-tinker, you over-rotate, instead of finding something that works, letting it ride out until you know it doesn't, and then figuring things from there.
But he does have more wins than Herrera did.
And?
At this point. I'm just saying, he hasn't had the World Cup to go and see how he does, right? Everything else that he's done, they're winning the Hex. They do well against the teams that they should beat. Except for maybe losing to Croatia. And then, they do well until they get to a certain part in the tournament and they play the really big teams and whoops.
And I bet you, get back to me this time next summer if Mexico bows out in the round of 16 again. Then we'll talk.
Oh, if they don't get to at least the quarterfinal, he's gone. Even then, I think they would probably say that for Osorio, he has to get to the semifinal or he's gone anyway. Because they don't need somebody. They probably feel like we can get anybody to get us past the group stage.
Yeah, and then if they have that lofty expectations, because let's face it, I'm not even going to go into the song because A, I don't feel like it, and B, it would defeat my point. But realistically, the semi-final.
I think Mariano Trujillo is being nice when he says, "We know we're not going to win." You try to tell Mexico that they're not going to get to a quarterfinal or a semifinal.
Okay,
yeah, there's people
Mexico,
that are.
You're not going to get to a quarterfinal or semifinal.
I'm just saying, most of those fans are not. It's one of the most pressurized jobs in all of world soccer. I mean, because of that, because the fans and the people in charge have loftier expectations for Mexico. The kings of CONCACAF, and the team that. The only team that goes to South America and does well. I mean, if you think about it.
Yeah, but that's only because, and I've always questioned this, why does South America let Mexican club teams into their tournaments?
Because they sell tickets and they actually win. So... it allows you to. It allows another part of the country to watch their tournament and everything else. I mean, why wouldn't you want more eyes on your stuff? It's Spanish speaking as well, which.
No, and that's the main thing that I get, but I don't know. I'm always. It's a kerfuffle.
I mean, I wish sometimes that MLS didn't have so much fixture congestion that maybe you could have some MLS sides or whatever go.
Well, that was kind of the idea for the longest time, and they were saying, hey, if an MLS team finally wins the CONCACAF, whatever the hell we're going to call it and misname it, we're going to let them into the Copa Sudamericana. Which, for development purposes, would be great. We would be a laughingstock, but it would be great development purposes.
True. Hey, but you got to try to get better, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got to get to a point where you're regularly, which they sort of are, regularly getting to the final or semifinals now. But you've got to regularly start winning the final and then start performing better in tournaments that are not your own. But we'll see. Because this might even get worse for Mexico if the planned CONCACAF League of Nations or whatever actually happens. So that's my problem with the whole. You want to take the friendlies away, and you want CONCACAF teams to only play CONCACAF teams. That's really not good for the United States and Mexico.
No, and that would cause some teams, and who knows, Mexico would be tempted to pull an Australia and decide to bail and switch affiliations.
I don't know. I feel like Mexico's threatened that before, but Mexico has to approve it. It's not like you don't think they're gonna sit there and make sure that Mexico is okay with this, or whoever the powers that be are go, let's do this. I mean,
well, I mean, look at what happened with Australia. They're like, look, we're the professionals around here. We don't want to play mailmen. Goodbye. Oceania was fine with it. And it really didn't take them long in Asia, both on a club and international level, to start doing well and performing.
well,
It would be
South America's
larger
not gonna say
growing.
no either.
And I mean, it would be a larger growing pains for Mexico if they were to switch, but I think if you're really at a situation like UEFA is doing, iron sharpens iron, and you're going to have the powerhouses that are San Marino and the Faroe Islands finally get a decent chance to compete, similar deal.
Right, but it's different with UEFA. Then you're talking about some of the best teams in the world playing against each other.
Right, and it would be a similar thing is like with CONCACAF, if this is done with Mexico, and who knows, who's to say CONMEBOL wouldn't decide to do something similar themselves?
It would be amazing if you could have a CONCACAF and CONMEBOL qualification. It's the same amount of teams, just it's it all together.
Exactly.
Like, imagine how good you would get if you're the United States getting to play all those teams all the time.
Yeah, I mean, look at how successful the Copa America Centenario was. Just say you have like a 16-team qualification for CONCACAF and CONMEBOL, combine their spots and say the top X number get to the World Cup. That would be brilliant.
Yeah, and then, Venezuela would actually have to beat people to do something, but
hey FIFA, since you're really expanding all of this to 48 teams, here's an idea. Poke, poke, poke.
Yeah, so looking now at the Gold Cup, the United States did have a little friendly with rival Ghana, won by 2-1, which is the preferred scoreline for the teams at this point.
Yeah, because this wasn't, us facing Ghana for survival in the World Cup. Otherwise, Ghana would have won again.
We won last time.
Still, it doesn't erase the memories.
Asamoah Gyan looked amazing in this game, though, by the way.
So did Quadwo Poku. And I was looking at the U.S. Open Cup, and I'm thinking, he's going to be a name to watch.
Somehow, Man City... I get it. Patrick Vieira was right about he's hard to... How do you put him in a lineup? But sometimes you need to go to another team, flourish there, and then go back.
Yeah.
So, Dom Dwyer starting, scoring. Looked good.
Good for him.
Following the script. Good maneuver.
Anybody else stand out for you, Rachel?
I've always thought Matt Beasler was very underrated and poorly used by Jurgen Klinsmann, so I was glad to see him get a nod tonight. And Graham Zusi actually impressed me on defense.
I think save for the one problem that Hedges had, he looked pretty good too. And Acosta McCarty, watch out. Michael Bradley. that duo was fantastic in this game. They were spreading balls everywhere. They were controlling things through the middle. Ghana had problems being able to really get a lot forward. And yeah, I really like that pairing. I hope we get to see. I mean, look, Michael Bradley sort of can do the same thing that McCarty's doing. So I don't have a problem if they were to do McCarty and Bradley, or Acosta and Bradley. That's fine. Just I don't know. For me, I feel like I kind of hope Jermaine Jones doesn't come back into the.
I've been saying that for the last year.
Yeah, I really can't argue against that myself either, but it's that there's just still this creeping voice in the back of my mind.
I thought Joe Corona looked good too in the behind the wire.
He looked real good.
It's like the first time I've seen him in a while, so it was nice to know that they called him up and he played well. So this is going to be an interesting Gold Cup, considering again the team that the U.S. is bringing. And I think we talked about what Germany did. Bruce Arena has that same feeling. He said, "I'm trying to finish my team for the Gold Cup, and if I can find 4 or 5 guys, I won."
But again, Germany has the machine, and now the backup machine. We don't.
We don't, but again, you're trying to find guys to fit in the reserve roles.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm all for solidifying depth, but at the same time, damn well, Bruce, odds are after Russia, you're going to go off somewhere else, and someone else is going to come in and take the helm. You don't win this Gold Cup, then whoever follows you will have to.
Wait, you got to be kidding me, right? They're not going to take Bruce Arena out of this job because he didn't win the Gold Cup.
No, I'm not saying because he didn't win the Gold Cup. I'm saying after next summer. Do you really think that he's going to be the long-term answer after that? What I'm saying is, give the guy who's going to eventually come after you a little bit of an easier time getting settled.
I think he's doing that, though.
Yeah, but he would do that even more if, again, while finding depth, fine, but win. And for the love of God, 2 strikers, thank you. 2. Dos.
I think he proved that you don't have to do that in every game.
You don't have to do that in every game, but you're going to need to do that at some point.
Well, yeah, of course. But, there's why he is tinkering a little bit with formation, and it's been working. He hasn't lost yet. So, until he does, I think it's fair to say that right now it's not about results, but when it's been about results, he gets them.
Okay.
All right, so let's get through this because, like Rachel said, baby is getting cranky, and cranky babies not great to take care of. So we have,
I would like
of course,
to put out the record that it's not my baby, by the way. It's my niece.
Point taken. That's always good to point out. Yes. So Group A, which is funny because I think this is like the first time in a while that Canada is not seeded. So that tells you a lot where Canada is.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Canada. I still love you.
We need to start a fund for Erik to be able to go to Canada. Erik can do all. I don't know what you can report on the new Canadian League from there.
Of course, among other things. Don't be
all right.
surprised if you see me in certain districts wearing a jean jacket and jeans.
So Honduras, Costa Rica, French Guiana, and Canada, and in Group A. Who you got?
I feel entitled to pick Costa Rica because a friend, I will say a friend very loosely of mine, his brother is actually on their national team, so I have to root for Juan Pablo Vargas. I think Costa Rica will win their group. I want to give Canada the benefit of the doubt and say that they'll make it out, but I'm not too self-confident about it. Who are the other two? Honduras and
French Guiana.
Yeah, Honduras it is.
Yeah, I think Honduras definitely gets second. Costa Rica wins the group. Canada could get a best third if everybody beats French Guiana.
Which they will.
Yeah, because, it's possible that, Martinique is not a pushover, so they could certainly, maybe get nick points and force draws and wind up with 2 points or something. And Curaçao is also not a total pushover. They actually bring some international talent that they could maybe push some points, but it's also possible that Jamaica winds up. You only have to be there's two best thirds, so if you have one that winds up with the the deuces or whatever, you could certainly get Canada going through by default. It doesn't mean they do anything after that, but we'll see. I think Canada's get through as a best third. And then Group B, United States, Panama, Martinique, and Nicaragua.
I don't know why. I mean, granted, as you said about Martinique, but I can see them finishing last somehow. In Nicaragua on tiebreakers finishing third. But again, as long as a certain someone in charge doesn't do anything stupid, we'll win the group.
The United States obviously benefits from playing Panama first. I think their hardest draw. You get the 3 points there. I think you did a lot to win this group. Even if you get the draw, then it's about how many goals you score. And I'd still favor the United States in scoring more goals than Panama, but we'll see. United States wins the group, Panama second. I don't have best thirds out of here.
Nope.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And Group C, you have Mexico, El Salvador, Curaçao, and Jamaica.
Mexico and Mexico and El Salvador.
Mexico. Lindo y querido. They're going first. El Salvador second. My reggae boys, as I do have some Jamaican blood flowing through these veins, I see you edging out that second best third. And Curaçao is a baseball country.
That they are. Mexico, I hate saying this. Every time I'm going to say El Salvador. Every time I say Jamaica's going to do something, they don't. So again, Jamaica gets the best third.
Yeah. Look, Sean, they're the reggae boys. I love them, but no.
I want to root for Jamaica because they have a defender on their squad named Sergio Campbell, and he used to play for the Riverhounds. So I go Jamaica? ?
They also
I want to root for Jamaica because I want to root for Jamaica because they have a great team. I love beef patties. I've never tried Red Stripe, but still, I'm not.
Wait, you've never tried Red Stripe?
No.
I was surprised that you haven't tried so many different kinds of beers.
Oh, I've tried different kinds of beers, and they typically suck. So, I have an open mind, but I mean, I've never seen the appeal of Red Stripe.
That guy with the commercial got me.
Hooray, beer!
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, this is going to be really easy because we all picked the same teams, pretty much. So, that means that Costa Rica will play Panama. United States will probably play, I want to say, Jamaica. And then Mexico will play Canada. And you have El Salvador playing Honduras, which that's always a fun matchup.
Ooh.
So, who do you have here?
Mexico going away. U.S. not as comfortable, but still comfortable. I'd have to think for a winner in that El Salvador match. And then who would be the other quarterfinal?
Costa Rica and Panama.
Costa Rica.
Say them again one by one, and I'll make the picks because I have a bad memory.
Costa Rica and Panama.
Costa Rica.
United States, and I want to say Jamaica probably.
U.S.
Mexico and Canada.
Mexico.
And El Salvador and Honduras.
Mila and I are thinking Honduras.
I'm going to add a little variety and say El Salvador with that one.
That's where I was going to go to.
That one that's not going to be in 90 minutes. I don't know how far it's going to go, but it's going to be longer than 90 minutes.
What's great is that Mexico and El Salvador always have like these dirty, nasty games. So like they get to play each other. It's like, oh.
I would be rooting so hard for El Salvador in that case. I would pull out every obscenity I knew and just scream it at my television if that were the case.
So you get Mexico, El Salvador, and the United States and Costa Rica. Ooh, some good matchups there. I think we know where we're going with this, though. USA, Mexico.
Barely.
Yeah, barely on both counts, I think.
Yeah.
And for me, I think the U.S. win.
I don't know.
With Osorio there?
Yeah, I was about to say,
I think the U.S. win.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you got to make a pick.
I'll say U.S. just because Mexico is very uncertain.
I mean, with the Mexican team, yes, they're trying to get reserves, or those that really didn't play in the Confederations Cup. Adding that to the squad that played against Ghana and comparing how we did against Ghana, I would say prima facie, U.S.
Hold on. The squad that played against Mexico was severely worse than the squad that we got to play against. We played against the better Ghana team.
Right, but it was also, again, and you admittedly said as well, an inferior Mexico squad. That's why I'm saying, adding that together and taking that into account just on an eye test level, yes, prima facie, I will say the U.S. wins. But, and I have said this repeatedly, if some freakish thing happens, and with the way that I've been speaking things into the universe, this might. So come at me with any hate tweets, and I'll stand by it. If weird things happen, and it winds up something terrible for us, like another 4 or 5-0 Mexico, I'm not going to be surprised, and I can make a case for it. So while I will be here on the air, on record, picking the U.S., I am doing this with an asterisk, another asterisk, one of those cross things, a number 1 in brackets, and maybe a number 2 in brackets as well. And one of those carrots for good measure.
God. Wow.
So he's very uncertain.
Yeah, he pretty much told you he is extremely uncertain about these picks. So we're all picked the United States, so guess what's going to happen?
They're going to lose.
We're going to be wrong.
We who?
None of us got I got the closest. I got the entire final, but I picked Chile, so none of us got the Confed Cup winner correct.
Hey, I had Portugal beating Mexico just in the wrong game.
Yeah.
Because someone decided that they didn't want to be the man after all the stuff I talked about. Ooh, I want to shoot 50 penalties. Ooh. Do not rely on the teammates. You the man, be the man. You've got the brand. You roll around with your shirt off. Damn it, step up and take the penalty. If Asamoah Gyan could do it, so can you.
That's different, though. If it was in the game, he would have taken the penalty. He always likes being the oh my god, I got all the glory.
But so you guarantee glory in saying, hey, I was the guy that set us up and got us on the path to the penalty shootout.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either. But
exactly.
All right, so I'm gonna let you go on your. First of all, I'm gonna discuss the draw of what we have, which is San Jose and the LA Galaxy. This starts again. This is for the U.S. Open Cup, by the way. U.S. Open Cup, which the ESPN game that had Chicago and Cincinnati was tremendous. There wasn't a lot of goals, but my God, was it entertaining and just everything you want as far as a showcase for the U.S. Open Cup on national TV. And Taylor Twellman and Adrian, he treated it with so much respect. I got to give him credit for that because they were into it. They made you want to be into it, and then the game didn't disappoint either. Beating Chicago is nothing to laugh at.
Not whatsoever.
That being said, Miami getting the last score at the death to get here, too.
Oh, my God, that goal. Poku, I sat there and my jaw dropped. Something else may have happened. But yes.
I wonder if Cincinnati could have gotten themselves a spot in the one of 28 teams with how much they got to talk about the fans, that ground, and everything else on national TV. That does help. Not
just that, but the performance in of itself.
Right.
They
also have a stadium plan too.
Exactly. So. You don't just have a place where you can play. You don't just have a fan base. You have a team that can come in and show we can hang with the top dogs. Seriously. Don? Come on now. Come on, Don. They're right there. Right there. Right there. Right there.
If I'm going to make an intro for this show at some point, and one of these come on Dons is going to be in the intro. But, so San Jose and the Galaxy, the Cali Clasico, taking place in the Open Cup. That's going to be fun. Sporting KC and Dallas, this is always it's either a low-scoring game or they don't score at all. So that could be interesting. And then, of course, this is during Gold Cup, so all these squads are going to be missing players. And then you get Miami FC and then FC Cincinnati, the lone non-MLS game, but at least somebody that's not from MLS will be in the semifinal. and they will play the winner of New England and New York Red Bulls. So you get Boston-New York rivalry there. Yeah. You wanted to rant about something, but...
Look, U.S. Open Cup. Let me tell you a couple of things. I'm not going to knock...
Let me tell you about...
I'm not going to sit here and knock your tournament. You've been running since 1914. You do a lot of things right. I get it. I salute you for it. I am a math major by trade. That's what I got my degree in. However, I like to think enough of geography that if that's going to come into play at any point whatsoever in your bracket, you're actually putting teams in the right regions. Let's dissect this a little bit. LA San Jose, called the California Clasico. So you would expect them to be a West region. Correct. New England and New York Red Bulls. Two very prominent markets, Boston, New York/New Jersey. You would expect them to be a East region. Correct. Now, U.S. Open Cup. Burn your time out. Let's look at this. You have Dallas, Miami, Sporting Kansas City, and SC Cincinnati. I know how you love that top flight teams advance. Especially with young stars, how well they progress, can make names for themselves. Quick shout out Atlanta United, Andrew Carlton. Gonna be a name to watch, Tab Ramos. I strongly suggest 2019. He will be in the age limit. Just saying. Just saying. Free advice. But when you decide to pair these teams, you use the proper geography and let the chips fall where they may. Just because Dallas and Kansas City both happen to be in the central time zone, you can loosely get away with calling that a central region by time zone only. Why? In your nigh infinite wisdom gained in over a century of organizing this grand showcase, does Cincinnati and Ohio, close to the Midwest, end up in the South? I am in the South. I have lived in the South, even though they consider Maryland a part of the South, which I've still never explained, even with the Mason-Dixon line and what have you. Cincinnati ain't South. They're not. No matter how you slice it, they're not South anything. So because they are the other second division team, they get paired up against Miami, doing yourselves and the tournament itself a disservice. You could have easily had a short flight between Kansas City and Cincinnati. People wouldn't quibble about the Central because, you know, that whole Midwest cluster and that group of friendly people. I get it. You get it. I'm sure my co-hosts get it. Then you could have had Dallas and Miami, two arguably, especially geographically, southern cities, southern, south region. But you don't. You opt for a cop-out. Shame. Shame on you, U.S. Open Cup. I am disappointed. You could have easily had two second division teams make the semifinals. You have any idea, especially with what's going on in second division soccer, how much of a bigger profile that would be? Especially for a certain blonde former player that dabbled in modeling underwear for a little while, who's building his little stadium and getting things together. You know, what that would do and try to help him and get some eyes on actually doing something legitimate and setting up his organization. But no, you don't. You cater to boys like Don, who I already have a beef with. I mean, come on now. Don't you get me on YouTube. Don't, just don't. Don't.
Want to make early predictions? Since we're here anyway.
I like Miami, honestly, winning that one. And who would they be matching up? You said they would match up with the winner of New England and the Red Bulls in the semifinal?
Right, isn't that the bracket that they have set up?
No, all they had was just the 4 regional finals.
Oh, they don't have it as...
No.
Okay. That's weird.
Yeah.
I thought they had a bracket that we saw on the round of 16.
Yeah, but they didn't see, it's like, who's matching up who against, it's just this region, this region, this region, this region. Their regions were only half right, half stupid.
Hold on. Let me see this. Yes, they do have the brackets.
Okay.
I was wrong, I'm sorry. No, I was right. It is San Jose and Galaxy. Whoever wins takes on Sporting KC and Dallas.
Okay.
And then the Revs and Red
LA
Bull
against
and Miami
Dallas in
and...
that one.
I think it's San Jose and Dallas. Because then the Galaxy are still probably going to be missing Gio and, you know, probably some other people too. The Revolution will be missing Rowe still, who's very important. I don't know if the Red Bulls are going to be missing anybody. So they'll be full strength. So I would say the Red Bulls get through there. Dallas is going to be missing Acosta and Hedges, but they proved that they can play without them, especially with Mark Diaz back. Sporting KC is going to be without Beasler and Dom Dwyer, which that's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to play this out, LA Dallas won semifinal. Miami against the Red Bulls in the other semifinal. Dallas beating the Red Bulls in the final.
I got San Jose, Dallas, Red Bull, and Cincinnati. And yeah, I think the Cinderella ends right there for Cincinnati. I just think that when you got a guy like BWP, their scoring and Robles' wonderful goalkeeping, that's difficult. I'll say Dallas gets to the final, Red Bull, and Dallas wins again. 2-time champs. So, alright. I think that's all we got to talk about here for this show. Of course, like I said, there is a huge slate of games for the July 4th, July 5th slate here. You got Atlanta, San Jose, and this all starts at 7, so you got like 2 games at 7, game at 8:30 and 9, a game at 10:30. So they have that whole night booked if you want to watch MLS. And then Wednesday they have a bunch of games too. New England, or 2 games at 7:30, a game at 8:30, and then 2 games at 10 and 10:30. So, and they even have a game on Thursday as well. So, you want soccer from Tuesday to Thursday for the Gold Cup? You're gonna get it with MLS. So, all right. well, until we are here again on Wednesday night to discuss what's happened in these games before they go on to the Gold Cup break, we'll be seeing you later, folks.
I need a drink. Peace.
I already beat you there, Eric. Peace.
Lucky.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.